G'day, Dave here from Davis Adventures. Today we're going to be cooking a paneer curry. Now we've been asked by the team at work to do a curry lunch day, and the focus of this curry lunch day is sustainability and conclusion. So the mission here is to cook sustainably, reducing waste, but also to make a vegetarian curry, as we have vegetarians in the team. First time for me to make a paneer curry and a vegetarian curry. So I think this is going to be pretty cool, good fun, and a new adventure for me.
That's fantastic. Cooking something new can be a fun adventure. Since you're aiming for sustainability, have you considered using locally sourced paneer or seasonal vegetables? Also, if you're looking for recipe ideas, I can suggest some that minimize food waste.
Thanks. Let me introduce you to my special guest for today's show. This is Gemini AI, Gemini Live we're using. Never done this before, so it's going to be a new experience here as well. But to answer Gemini's question, yes, I've sourced my own ginger and some ingredients from the garden. Now it's time to put my chef's hat on, and let's get started.
Great. Do you want to share your recipe, or would you like me to find one for you?
Thanks, Gemini. I've actually got a recipe. The recipe I've got is from Sam Hayes' kitchen, and I got that online. So go and check them out. It's said to be an easy paneer curry, restaurant style.
That sounds delicious. Since you're using Sam's Kitchen's recipe, I'm sure it'll turn out great. Do you have all the ingredients ready, or do you need help with any substitutions to make it more sustainable?
Well, I've actually got most of the ingredients ready. I've prepared all the herbs and spices, just to save time for my video, and now I'm dicing up some onions finally to put in the recipe. I am making one slight change to the recipe though, because I'm actually going to add in pumpkin to see if that adds a little bit of sweetness and it bulks the recipe out a little bit more.
Pumpkin is a great addition. It'll add a lovely sweetness and creaminess to the curry. Since you're adding pumpkin, you might want to adjust the spices a bit. Perhaps a pinch of cinnamon or nutmeg would complement the pumpkin nicely.
Could you give an explanation on what paneer is for my viewers?
Her dad had died when she was 6. It's really popular in South Asian cuisine. It has a mild milky flavour and a firm, crumbly texture. It's often used in vegetarian dishes like curries, and it's a great source of protein. So how's the curry coming along?
Not too bad, still cutting up the onions slowly. So what I'm about to do is I've sourced my ginger from the garden as mentioned. And talking about sustainability, what I recommend is rinsing the ginger in a bowl in the sink. So then
That's a great tip. Rinsing the ginger in a bowl is a simple way to conserve water, especially when you're washing multiple items. Do you have any other water-saving tips you'd like to share?
well, using that bowl in the sink to rinse your ginger, you can use that bowl to water the plants in the garden. So I can go back and re-water the ginger plant with the water that I've used to rinse.
That's a fantastic idea. Reusing the water to nourish your ginger plant is a great way to close the loop and minimize waste. It's those little steps that can make a big difference. Do you have any other sustainable practices you're incorporating into your cooking today?
Yes, I'm keeping some of the peels that I'm getting off the non-acidic vegetables, and I'm going to be using that in my worm farm.
That's a great idea. Using vegetable peels in your worm farm is a fantastic way to reduce waste and create nutrient-rich compost for your garden. It's a win-win. Are there any other ways you're minimizing waste in your cooking today?
Actually, there is. So I have solar on my roof, which means when I'm cooking high energy dishes that use the stove, I recommend cooking those during the day. Therefore, the solar is covering the power usage that's required to run the oven.
That's a smart way to use your solar power. Do you have any other energy saving tips for cooking?
Well, more of the cleanup process, I would say, is when you put everything in your dishwasher, if you're lucky to have a dishwasher, then you run your dishwasher during the day again through the non-peak times or utilising your solar power.
That's a great tip. Running the dishwasher during off-peak hours or when your solar panels are generating the most power can save energy and money. Do you have any other energy-saving tips for using the dishwasher?
Keep rinsing to a minimum so you're not wasting water. But then again, going back, if you are going to be rinsing dishes prior and it's using only organic material in the rinsing, then you could use that water again in your garden.
That's a great tip. Rinsing dishes before putting them in the dishwasher can save water, especially if you're only rinsing off organic material. You could even reuse that water in your garden. Do you have any other tips for saving water in the kitchen?
Not at this stage, but where I'm up to at the moment is I've just grated my ginger and I've just crushed my garlic into a bowl together.
Okay, that sounds like a good start. I'm sure your paneer curry will be delicious.
Well, I hope so. I'm cooking it for a team of people at work. I'm now going to prepare the paneer for the curry. Gemini.
Great. How are you planning to prepare?
Sorry.
Yes, what can I help you with?
The recipe
No
says
problem. How can I help?
that I need.
Okay, I'm ready to help. What's the question?
The recipe says I need to soak the paneer for 10 minutes in hot water. As I'm making this curry a day ahead, do you think if I put the paneer in the curry at the end, as I turn the cooking off, and then I can reheat it tomorrow, and then that'll do the process of absorbing the curry flavour while keeping the paneer tender?
Yes, that would work. I'm sure your paneer curry will be a hit at the curry lunch day.
So we're focusing on sustainability through this video. Can you give us some tips on how to be a bit more sustainable in the kitchen?
Sure, here are some tips for being more sustainable in the kitchen. First, try to reduce food waste. Plan your meals, store food properly, and compost scraps. You can also reduce your use of plastic by using reusable containers and bags, and by avoiding single-use plastics. Another tip is to save energy by cooking with the right size pot and pan, and by using energy-efficient appliances. Finally, you can save water by fixing leaks, washing dishes in a basin, and only running the dishwasher when it's full. Do you have any other questions about sustainable cooking?
No thanks. Hey Gemini.
Hey there, what's cooking?
Well, I'm still working on the curry we've been talking about, but now I'm just cutting up the chilli. I'm using a yellow chilli. Not exactly sure what type it is, but do you think a yellow chilli is going to be spicy?
It's hard to say for sure without knowing the exact type of yellow chili, as their spiciness can vary quite a bit. Some yellow chilies are mild, while others can be quite fiery. If you're unsure, you might want to start with a small amount and add more to taste. Is there anything else I can help you with?
I think I'm going to add 2 of those chilies, and I guess the people at work are going to let me know if they're spicy or not in the curry tomorrow.
That's a good plan. Adding 2 chilies will definitely give it a kick, and your co-workers can always add a dollop of yogurt or sour cream to cool it down if it's too spicy.
Okay, I think I'm about ready to start cooking the curry now. I've got the ingredients all prepared. Getting a lovely fragrance from the coconut oil coming off the pot.
That sounds amazing. What's the next step in the recipe?
I'm going to be putting in some whole cumin seeds, and I'm going to fry them until they start popping a little bit, and then they'll start getting a little bit aromatic, whatever that word is, when you can smell it.
Okay, that sounds about right. You'll know they're ready when they start to crackle and pop. and release that warm, nutty aroma.
Aroma.
It usually only takes a minute or two.
Yeah, aroma's the word I was thinking of.
Great! It sounds like they're almost ready. Once they start popping, you'll want to move quickly to the next step so they don't burn. What does the recipe call for next?
Well, I haven't quite got the pot hot enough yet to start the cumin seeds, but I'll let you know.
Okay, I'll wait to hear about the cumin seeds. Maybe we can talk about the history of cumin while we wait.
That sounds good.
Cumin has a really long and interesting history. It's been used for thousands of years, dating back to ancient Egypt, where it was used both as a spice and in mummification. The ancient Romans used it quite a bit too, and it was one of the most popular spices in Europe during the Middle Ages. Cumin is also mentioned in the Bible, both in the Old and New Testaments.
Wow, that's interesting. I think a lot of herbs and spices...
Cumin has definitely earned its place as a staple spice in so many cuisines. It's amazing how a single plant can have such a rich history.
So tell me where it's mentioned in the Bible.
Cumin is mentioned in both the Old and New Testaments of the Bible. In the Old Testament, it's mentioned in Isaiah chapter 28 verse 27, where it talks about how cumin is threshed with a rod. In the New Testament, it's mentioned in Matthew chapter 23 verse 23, where Jesus talks about how the Pharisees pay tithes of mint, dill and cumin, but neglect the weightier matters of the law. What does the recipe call for next?
To add the ginger and the garlic and the onions.
Okay, that sounds delicious. Ginger and garlic add a wonderful depth of flavor. How long does the recipe say to cook them?
About 4 to 5 minutes.
Okay, 4 to 5 minutes should be perfect to soften them up and release their flavors. You'll want to stir them occasionally so they don't stick to the bottom of the pan.
Okay.
Sounds good. Keep stirring them and let me know when they're ready.
So while we're doing that, Gemini, do you know any cooking jokes?
Sure, here's one for you. What do you call cheese that isn't yours? Nacho cheese.
Haha, that sounds like a dad joke.
Okay, what's the next step?
I need to add 2 tins of tomato.
Okay, adding the tomatoes now will create the base for your curry sauce.
Okay, so I've blended the gravy, it's nice and smooth now.
Great! Now that the gravy is blended, you can add the paneer and any other vegetables you're using. You might want to simmer it for a little while to let the flavors meld together.
I think there's something the recipe says to do first, and it says to add about 1.5 cups of water. But I think the secret ingredient to a good vegetarian curry is chicken stock. What do you think?
Chicken stock will definitely add a richer flavor to your curry. It's a great way to boost the umami. Just keep in mind that it will make the dish non-vegetarian.
Do you think they'll really notice though?
If someone's expecting a vegetarian dish, they might notice the chicken stock. It has a distinct savory flavor. You could always use vegetable stock for a similar richness while keeping it vegetarian.
I guess the point of the curry is to be inclusive, isn't it? So I think you're right.
That's a great point. Using vegetable stock ensures everyone can enjoy your delicious curry.
Okay, now I've added the vegetable stock. What I'm going to do is add the pumpkin and the capsicum just to allow time for them to cook before we go turning the pot off and adding the paneer.
It should take about 15 to 20 minutes for the pumpkin to become tender. You can check it with a fork. It should pierce easily when it's ready.
Speaking of inclusion, I'm going to make another modification to the recipe, and I think I'm going to add some frozen peas. What do you think, Gemini?
Frozen peas would be a great addition. They'll add a pop of sweetness and colour to your curry. Just toss them in during the last few minutes of cooking so they don't get mushy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How's the curry coming along?
Pretty good. We're just going to be simmering it away, waiting for the pumpkin to cook.
Okay, sounds delicious. Just a heads up, I'm going to have to jump off our call in about 5 minutes.
So the last thing to add to the recipe before I put it into the dish with the paneer is some kasuri methi. Gemini, can you tell us what kasuri methi is?
Kasuri methi is dried fenugreek leaves. It's used as a herb in Indian cooking and has a slightly bitter but addictive flavor. It's often used in dishes with paneer, potatoes, and chickpeas.
Well, thanks for your time with us today. Before you go, can I just ask one more thing?
Well, before I go, can I help you with anything else?
Just one more question. Can you give us one more quick overview of why it's important to be sustainable in the kitchen, but also include different work colleagues' dietary requirements when doing meals together?
Sure thing. Sustainability in the kitchen is about making choices that are good for the planet. That could mean using less plastic, composting food scraps, or buying from local farmers. When it comes to cooking with co-workers, it's super important to be mindful of everyone's dietary needs. You might want to ask about allergies or preferences beforehand. Maybe you can have a potluck where everyone brings a dish to share, so there are lots of options.
Great. Thanks very much.
You're very welcome. I hope you found that helpful. I'm always here to help if you have any other questions.
Now, another sustainability tip is you can actually turn the stove off now. In the last 10 minutes or so, the heat's retained from the hot plate and the temperature in the pot itself will finish off the cooking, thus saving power. Okay, so I'm now just going to put the paneer into the dish and then we'll pour our gravy over the top. Thanks everyone for joining me on this adventure. I hope you learned a little bit about sustainability in the kitchen and inclusivity, including those teammates or friends of yours who have slightly different eating requirements. We can all cook something different and enjoy a meal where no one gets to miss out. It's been good having Gemini providing some insights. It's something I've never done before. It's actually one of the first times I've used Gemini, and I think it's something we're not going to be able to avoid going into the future. I think AI is here to stay, and I think if we use it wisely and be mindful on how we use it, it can actually be quite beneficial. But we've always just got to double check that the information being provided is true and accurate. Well, we'll see you next time. Get out there and cook a curry or try some things on inclusivity and whatever that other thing, sustainability. This is Davis. Over and out.
Enjoy your dinner.
Yeah, thanks.